This certainly is not the first time that Meghan Markle has explained something she shouldn't have, but it is the first time that Meghan Markle's spokesperson, mayhaps the Meg herself, has gone on the record about the growing public opinion and backlash she received after Geneva that her and Prince Harry's stance on online dangers and advocacy within social media and whatnot, protections for youth, is directly contradictory to her frequent personal social posts that do feature her children. Almost every single post to Instagram on Meghan Markle's personal Instagram this year has featured her children, which is its own problem, which we're going to get to momentarily. But not only does it make Meghan Markle money, it more importantly makes Meta money and is viewed as an endorsement of the platform overall. And after all the backlash from her Geneva trip and speech, even the mainstream media was pointing out the hypocrisy in their headlines. Meghan Markle released this statement trying to defend herself, and boy, has she stepped in it. Not only did her statement fail to adequately make her case was not compelling at all. It actually exposed her blind spots on the issue and further illustrates exactly why people do not respect her as an advocate for online safety and social media criticisms. Hi everybody, I'm Biebs Kelly. Welcome back to another video. Before we hop in, I would like to invite you to subscribe if you have not yet already and click like and hype on this video. So, setting aside the contents of that messy statement, the fact that Meghan Markle made a statement on this topic at all reveals just how loud the hypocrisy allegations and criticisms have grown. It used to just be isolated to the royal watchers who would criticize these types of things or point these types of things out, and slowly but surely more and more media have picked these sort of criticisms up or these hypocrisies up, and now following Geneva, almost all the mainstream media articles and big platforms pointed out this controversy, this hypocrisy in the fact that Meghan posted a picture to social media creating profits for Meta, not 24 hours before she gave a speech declaring it a public health crisis, for goodness sakes. The hypocrisy is glaring, it's difficult to ignore, and it is a big piece of the story here. And if these criticisms were still just isolated to a handful of commentators, then she probably wouldn't have said anything. The fact that she did say something means it's widespread. Really important to note that she would not have been motivated to try to defend herself if she was not getting a lot of negative feedback that was strong enough to warrant attention, or that her team, her PR advisors, and or Prince Harry demanded she make some sort of a statement. To post a photo with your child at your feet one day and then the next give a speech attempting to frame social media as a dire public health risk are so blatantly hypocritical that not even mainstream media could ignore running headlines that addressed this. It means that the scales have been tipped so dramatically against Meghan, and rightly so, that she's now trying to correct the narrative or manipulate the public perception. And just as we've seen with Meghan and Harry's PR strategy over the last, 7, 8 years, even when they were with the royal family, it's always so reactionary. Their PR strategy fails to be proactive in its approach. And then she and Harry are always trying to play catch up and correct things and redefine things and throw context back into things, or manipulate the narratives and manipulate the way people interpret the news headlines in a way that is reactionary. It's responding to headlines that have already been out there and published and ran. And that's never going to work because people view it as a clapback or an attempt to correct something or an attempt to fix or change the way something was perceived. And therefore, it also feeds into a controlling sort of narrative too. Her statement begins, "The Duchess." Well, that's clearly not going to endear her to anyone. Read the room, Meghan. This is one of her big problems. She holds her title up like a shield. that because she has her title and she prefaces her statements with her title, she's using it as though she thinks she should be taken seriously and never criticized just because of that title. Okay? Muy importante to point out that just because you have a title doesn't mean what you say holds more weight. But Meghan treats it like that because when she wants to say something and make a statement to the press, it always leads with the Duchess or Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex, or something of that nature, rather than just Meghan. And this creates a divide and a disconnect where it doesn't feel personal with the public. So people aren't going to listen to it, whether she's saying positive or negative things, whether she's defending herself or someone else. Nobody cares once she's leading with the Duchess, because it's viewed as a shield she wishes to hide behind. But her statement continues. Meg has always been clear that there is a distinction between sharing moments from her life and exposing her children to public scrutiny. Well, let's just pause right here, shall we? Her posts have certainly, without a doubt, exposed her children to ruthless public scrutiny, especially because Meghan is so disliked herself. Maybe particularly because she is so disliked herself. People look at her pictures with very harsh eyes. Right or wrong, it's a fact. And the Meg should be taking that very seriously. She should understand the gravity of her unpopularity and its capacity to bleed over onto her children, just as it has with Harry and her business and with Netflix and with other people or things that she has tried to associate herself with. Her posts have very, very clearly opened her kids to public scrutiny, and it's not nice. I see so many comments about the kids' clothing, about the kids' hair, that Lily's hair is always messy, about their demeanor around Meghan, inferring possible dynamics at play between child and parent, comparing the size of the children, potential age of the children, why one is dressed as if it's winter and the other dressed as if it's spring. And again, the validity or the merits of these opinions that the public leaves in the comments section regarding Meghan's pictures of her kids is secondary to the fact that this is only happening because Meghan put the picture up. That's the bottom line. If Meghan did not post pictures that have her kids in them, faces or not, then her kids would not be being sucked into the vortex of her unpopularity and unlikability and getting criticized unfairly online. Her statement continues, by obscuring their faces, she is demonstrating the very principle she advocates for, giving children privacy, agency, and protection in an increasingly digital world. No, she's not doing any of those things. She's not giving them privacy just by hiding their faces. This is a fallacy. This is something that people think works, but it absolutely does not create privacy for your child, and it certainly does not protect them or those pictures. The entire rest of the body is shown, and unfortunately, very unfortunately, online, people take pictures out of context constantly. All the time, whether or not the face is hidden, it does not matter. There is simply no safe level of putting pictures or videos of children on social media, in my personal opinion, none whatsoever. No safe levels, not at all. Face or no face. And as for agency, I'm sorry, no, absolutely not. She's not getting their adult, fully informed opinion and permission. She's making the choice for them. How delusional do you have to be to say, I'm demonstrating agency, children agency, child agency for my kids by posting their pictures on my personal, adult, and probably monetized social media? Absolutely not. And this could be playing out in one of two ways in a situation like this. The Meg could be taking pictures, as all of us do, of our families and our lives and our kids, and she's scrolling through and she makes an executive decision that if she hides their faces or their faces are obscured, then she's allowed to post it, and she just decides to post the pictures, telling herself, well, as long as their faces are hidden, then I am protecting their privacy and agency. But that is a mind game. That is something people tell themselves to make it feel okay to do. Because the fact of the matter is that in that scenario, there is zero agency provided for the kids. They are completely oblivious that this is happening. Or, alternatively, it could be that she selects a photo specifically with the faces hidden and asks the kids if she can post it, in which case they're not fully informed of the consequences or the risks or any of that nature. They don't know about her unpopularity, nor are they old enough to give true consent to this. And in that scenario, then she's actively involving them in social media, which is bad, just straight up, and completely against everything she and Harry have been saying. It will only lead to one thing, and that's the kids wanting more and more access to it and getting the impression, thinking that it's fun and safe. Protecting, she is not. The statement continues, far from being contradictory, by concealing their faces, she is actually reflecting the message she delivered in Geneva that parents can choose to share family experiences while still taking deliberate steps to protect identities, privacy, and digital footprint. Again, concealing the faces, I cannot stress this enough. Concealing faces doesn't actually do much in the way of inappropriate use of photographs of children, or anybody for that matter. And it certainly doesn't stop negative public opinions of her and her children from circulating in the comments section and public opinion. Fundamentally, her argument is completely weak. Like, she doesn't really even have an argument. She's just throwing words together and hoping that a handful of power words like agency and protection is going to absolve her of her guilt in this scenario. It is not. What she is doing here is prioritizing her own desire to share her life over the children's future right to decide if they wanted to be a part of her public brand or her public image at all. True digital agency for children means preserving a blank slate for them until they are old enough to say, yes, I want to be on your Instagram. She's not providing them the right to an open future, because regardless of their face, their identity, meaning they are known human beings, we know their names, we know these pictures are of them posted to her social media, so therefore their identity and their digital footprint is now forever tied to Meghan, her brand, and her unpopularity, because Meg made that choice. Therefore, those kids already do not have what most sociologists and those in bioethics view as the gold standard, an open future. One in which no part of their identity or digital footprint is decided for them during childhood at all, which means a complete and total social media blackout. Unfortunately, her attempt to manipulate the narrative here relies on a conflation of terms. Meghan is confusing anonymity with agency, which is an essential distinction to make. She argues that obscuring their faces is an act of protection that aligns with her advocacy. But the reality is that that's not enough. Hiding a face is a basic privacy measure, sure, but putting them on the internet at all is a flex of parental agency, not child agency. It's Meghan Markle's decision at the end of the day and her consent that is given to put those kids on social media. And it's the kids and their future selves who will suffer the consequences, not her. By using them as props in her digital narrative, faceless or not, she is still drafting them into the public eye without their consent, which fundamentally contradicts the core ethos of giving children digital autonomy, which is provided through that blank slate theory. And I've always said one key problem with her for hiding their faces is that she took public titles for them, and by making them titled, she's also made them public figures. And therefore, it should be a clear and total line, no gray area. Complete privacy with zero pictures, or posting regular pictures with their faces to comply with the public expectations of titled people and public figures. By trying to have it both ways, she's only creating more problems for herself. She's not providing them anonymity, she's not providing them privacy or protection or agency or any of the things, but she has also thrown them into a realm of being public figures where there's additional expectations, and they're more well known by name than they would have been without the titles. When somebody slaps a emoji sticker over a face, or posts pictures of the back of a kid's head, what that is called is performative privacy. It's not actual privacy, but it looks like you made an effort. It's simply a visual cue to try to make the parent look responsible. But it does very little in reality to mitigate the actual threats of the modern internet. According to the Children's Alliance Center, bad actors actively take photos with hidden faces for misuse. And privacy experts assert that obscured faces actually makes certain nefarious internet problems easier. For example, the practice of digital napping is much easier if a child's face is regularly hidden. Furthermore, open source intelligence techniques means that a faceless photo still often contains enough data to not only actively track a child, but to compile and generate a face eventually over time. Proving that privacy isn't just about the face, it's about location, time, clothing. Everything from the height and weight and build of a child can fill a digital dossier. And some AI tools can even remove digital stickers if the image hasn't been properly scrubbed or flattened before uploading via the metadata. And one day having the side of the face visible, another day an overhead shot where maybe the forehead or their nose might be visible, and another day maybe their chin is visible. These add up. And eventually, weirdos on the internet will put together the puzzle of a child's face over time. When analyzing how public perception is shaped by media handling, obscuring faces is a cosmetic fix to a structural problem. When a public figure argues that hiding the face is an act of protection, they are sidestepping the fact that the safest way to protect a child from the internet is simply to not put them on it at all. By posting them anyway, the parent is prioritizing the engagement, the potential relatability, or the brand building that comes with showing a mom life over the absolute security of the child. It's a calculated content compromise, not a shield for the child. And Meghan Markle can't handle being wrong, so she's trying to manipulate these facts and claim that she's demonstrating her stance through this way, using power words like agency and privacy and protection. But what the facts actually show is that she's doing the opposite, which is plain for everyone except for her and Harry to see, which is exactly why she is not respected in the online safety and advocacy space. It's honestly scary and weird and intense to think about or to realize what can happen with a photo once it's posted to the internet. The internet should be treated like a lawless cesspool, and therefore it is no place for your kids' photos. It's just the plain reality. The internet is not safe, no matter what you're trying to do to make it safe. It's just not. The only way to truly provide privacy, protection, and agency is that open future policy. Absolutely no pictures, absolutely no family photos with emojis covering the faces, none of it. Absolutely nothing with your children on it at all, and preferably not of you either. Because if somebody can track you and they know that you have kids, then they can find where the kids are. The fact of the matter is that Meghan Markle is failing to protect her children from online criticisms, from negative public opinion. She's failing to protect them in terms of their photos being taken and used in gross ways. She's failing to provide them agency by not actually giving them that open future. She is ingraining their digital footprint into hers. And she's doing it to try to drive engagement on her own social media, which is a gross and selfish thing to do. She is, in fact, contradicting her stance on online safety with these photos, not only when it comes to the implications and her own children and things of that nature, but also just on the basis of this looks like an endorsement for Meta. You're using this platform regularly. You're making money off this platform. You're making Meta money. So how can you sit here and say that this social media tool is a public health issue? It is a crisis. It is a crisis for our children, and they are not doing enough to protect our children, and bad, bad, bad. But I'm still going to use it. And I'm still going to put my kids' photos on there with their whole bodies visible, just going to cover their faces. And I'm going to do that regularly enough that my engagement will rise and I'll make more money. And Meta's making money too, but I'm making money and I'm getting more engagement and I'm getting more visits to my page. So I'm going to continue to do that. But you should still listen to me when I tell you that this is a public health crisis.
It is a public health issue. And a human one.
Thank you for joining me for today's video. I sincerely hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Have a happy day, everybody. Bye.